Hi everyone, welcome to this video. In this video, we're going to be reacting to Reddit under the subreddit called Binge Eating Disorder and see if we can help and support people with their questions, because there's so much misinformation, so much confusion, many people just asking, how can I recover from binge eating? And I can see there's 83,000 members, 10 online at the moment in binge eating disorder, and there's so many things that we can just uncover. So let's find one right now which we can react to. So this one's by Ice Tacos. So people say to eat enough so you don't get too hungry and binge. But it doesn't matter how much I eat, I still have the same urges of eating everything. Even if I eat 1,500 calories of healthy and filling foods, I still have the same strong urge to eat high-calorie trash stuff. So by the sounds of things, it seems like he's still under-eating, or he or she is still under-eating calories, because 1,500 calories is not enough. So men, at an average, need 2,500 calories, and women need an average of 2,000 calories. So even if you're 4 foot flat, like 4 foot zero, then you still need more calories than that. If you're binge eating, I often tell people and clients that binge eating is not a problem, it's a symptom that your body is under-fueled in some way. It's either under-fueled by how many calories you're eating, you're not eating enough calories, or maybe you're not having enough satisfaction, psychological fulfillment with your meals. So by the sounds of things, it seems like this person here is volume eating. And volume eating, if you're not aware of what volume eating is trying to eat really high fiber foods, very, very high protein, just so you can keep your calories as low as possible. But your body will still recognize if it's under eating calories, because at the end of the day, calories are a unit of energy. And if your body's not getting enough energy for its bodily maintenances. So let's say, for example, this person runs on 2,500 calories, which is your basal metabolic rate. So for those who don't know, basal metabolic rate is your body's requirements, assuming that you're just lying down. Even if you're in a coma, then your body still needs a lot of energy for your brains, lungs, liver, kidneys, and it contributes to your NEAT, which is non-exercise activity thermogenesis. So NEAT is your body's movements, and you're not intentionally making exercise. So oftentimes I crinkle my toes, wiggle my toes when they're in my shoes. I talk with hand signals. That's contributing to my body's BMR, the basal metabolic rate. So looking here, it says drinking water spikes my hunger and activates my hunger. I don't know what is wrong with my hunger signaling. So a sign that your body is heavily under-fueled, once again, is when you have intense cravings. Even something as simple as drinking water can activate your hunger. If you're under-fueling, then your ghrelin levels, your hunger hormones, are through the roof. If your body recognizes you're in a deficit, that's just normal. If your body is in a surplus, then leptin, which is the fullness hormone, will go through the roof. So there's this study called the Minnesota Starvation Experiment in the 1940s that actually took place to see what would happen if you underfuel someone if they ate 1,000 calories less for a long period of time. And what they found was that these patients, or shall I say these soldiers, even though they're eating at a 1,000 calorie deficit for a long period of time, for weeks at a time, their cravings went through the roof. They got angry, shall I say hungry and angry at the same time. They got manic, they lost their sex drive, they got depressed, they got anxious, and there are clear resemblances with binge eating and the people in the Minnesota Starvation Experiment. So in summary, how can we overcome this intense craving for food? So remember, binge eating is not a problem, it's a symptom. So if you see it as a symptom, how can you solve it? How can you overcome the symptom, shall I say? If you jump to the North Pole without any coat or any jacket, you're gonna shiver. If you hold your pee in for a really long time, you don't find a toilet, then you're gonna wet yourself. If you underfuel yourself for a really long time by not eating enough calories or not eating any foods you enjoy, just constantly volume eating, then your body's going to want to binge eat. It's a survival response, and it's completely normal to binge eat. So what I would say is, rather than trying to be in a deficit, try to aim for maintenance and try to make sure your meals consist of protein, fats, carbs, and fiber. Don't try to focus too much on volume eating, where you're just eating zucchini, spaghetti, these kinds of things which are not really balanced. Make sure all of your plates, breakfast, lunch, and dinner, eating consistently, protein, fats, carbs, and fiber, and it's also enjoyable. Make the meal as delicious as possible, and try to follow it for a week's time, or maybe 2 weeks, and see if your binge eating urges reduce. Then, when your binge eating episodes turn to 0 a week, then you could jump onto a more sustainable weight loss pattern. You have to get rid of the red flags. You have to get rid of the alarm bells that your body's thinking that there's a famine going on. Then you can jump onto sustainable weight loss. This title is absolutely correct. There isn't a single solution to binge eating. It isn't as simple as, like what I said, sometimes just eating regular meals. There are emotional reasons, there are psychological reasons, physical reasons like extreme hunger, as I mentioned before, mechanical reasons. Sometimes even trauma could trigger binge eating. People pleasing could trigger binge eating. Being someone who's an empath, overly caring for other people, you give so much of yourself to other people that you don't have any self-care or effort to take care of yourself, to prepare a meal, so you just head over to binge eat. So here are things that I found implemented that worked for him or her. Drinking gulps of warm water when I wake up, but as long as the person's eating a meal after that, rather than just trying to avoid hunger. That's the main problem many people have with binge eating recovery. People think that binge eating recovery is about trying to undereat as much as possible, trying to have a certain weight loss goal. It's not as simple as that. You're just fighting against your body and you're making the urges even stronger. Going for a 10-minute walk in the morning without my phone, I absolutely love that. So walking is very powerful for reducing your binge eating urges, because what happens when people have or struggle with binge eating episodes is that they have this thing called alexithymia, which is the ability to not read your emotions. So studies show that something as simple as just walking can actually reduce your alexithymia, can help you be more in tune with your emotions. Even better if you don't have any podcast or any music you're listening to, just like pure silence, you'll be able to like have a mini, shall I say, journaling session in your head, just reflecting on your day, reflecting on what happened yesterday, what's happening right now, what are you actually feeling, just trying to be more in tune with yourself. So people with binge eating oftentimes also struggle with lower levels of interoceptive awareness. People who have ADHD have even lower levels of interoceptive awareness and alexithymia. So interoceptive awareness is your ability to sense your bodily cues, like, oh, do I need to use the toilet? How hungry am I feeling? So if you have lower levels of interoceptive awareness, especially people with those who have ADHD, then you just ignore it, and you're not intentionally ignoring it, you just forget about it, and then all of a sudden your hunger cues at night hit you like a truck. Walking can help you be more in tune, be more mindful of your interoceptive awareness, improving your emotional regulation, trying to recognize your emotions. That can help reduce binge eating in the long run. Journaling does exactly what I mentioned before, really helpful. Intermittent fasting, gentle intermittent fasting. So I love how this person says, if it isn't for you, don't do it. So normally I would say intermittent fasting isn't really helpful if you struggle with binge eating, because you're trying to promote avoiding meals as much as possible. But if it works for you, then go for it. But if you feel extreme hunger in the morning, then don't try to just push your hunger away, because your body's crying out for food. If you're struggling with binge eating, then I like to think of it as a red siren in your mind, that like, oh, I'm struggling with binge eating, I need to eat food. If you're telling the opposite of your body, trying to avoid as much as possible, then the cravings are going to be crazy high in dinner time. So breakfast, lunch and dinner should ideally contain, as I mentioned, protein, fats, carbs and fibers. I limit my carbs and sugars because I feel the best and most steady when I do. But I continuously remind myself that if I want potatoes for dinner, I can. If you crave something, then go for it. But remember that you're not gonna have a massive binge eating episode if you're implementing balanced meals, breakfast, lunch, dinner, protein, fats, carbs and fiber. Because there are two triggers to binge eating mostly: extreme hunger or extreme unfulfillment. You're not really enjoying your food. I can have a pastry, but I'm not gonna have a massive craving because I'm eating it for psychological satisfaction. I'm not eating it for like hunger. Unfortunate news, no, you can't recover from binge eating when you're in a calorie deficit. I love this. This is the most, if there's anything I would highly recommend, it's this post. I understand desperation to lose weight, but you're shooting yourself in the foot. You need to seriously eat what your body needs. There are many dietitians and registered nutritionists who support people who are struggling with binge eating, but they say, oh yeah, just forget about weight loss as much as possible. But what I like to say is, don't forget about weight loss if you really need it, because it's important to validate your emotions. If you feel like you need to lose weight to improve your confidence, and it helps your confidence, then go for it. But don't put all of your hope and dreams into something you know it's gonna make you feel better even though you never experienced it. What I'd like to say is, put weight loss on the back burner or put it on the side for now. Try to find some balance, sustainability, because at this point, if you're trying to lose weight and you don't have any form of building some balance of protein, fats, carbs and fiber in every meal, which will also help you overcome binge eating first, then you're not gonna lose weight sustainably. This is the reason why 95% of people fail diets, because they're jumping the wagon. They don't have any firm foundation. So what I'd say is keep yourself at least in maintenance. And you don't have to strictly track, but at least just listen to your hunger cues, eat regular meals, and then later on, when you have 0 binge eating episodes, then you can just jump onto the wagon, but don't be too extreme with rushing weight loss. And then you can maybe reduce your portions, or like once you have binge eating episodes, straight to 0, or maybe increase a little bit of your protein and fiber much later on. Try to be as social as possible, which is hard as an introvert with autism. I say yes to hang out with friends, and I try to visit family often. Laughing's good for mental health. Absolutely. So one of the key factors with binge eating is eating in secret, or loneliness, or boredom eating. You're just bored because you're oftentimes alone, or so you sink into the couch, and then you think to yourself, oh, I have no purpose in life, all those kinds of things, and you just want to like binge eat your feelings away. So this is really important. Keep yourself social as possible. So try your best to have a strict calendar, because let's say this portion for breakfast, then this portion to hang out with friend A, and then lunch with friend B, and then try to go to the gym at this time, and then this time. Because when there are little gaps in your calendars, especially at night, then that's when binge eating can creep in. So try to keep yourself as social as possible at night. What I did to overcome binge eating is I would go to the gym at night, because that's when I felt like I was most vulnerable to binge eating. Not at an attempt to lose weight or burn calories in the gym, but just to get stronger. So evening time from 7 p.m. to 9 p.m., 2 hours in the gym, just try to lift as much as possible, try to get stronger, because when I place my focus away from binge eating, then I can focus everything on trying to get stronger, trying to improve my lifts, trying to just have a nice sense of fun music blaring in the background in the gym, or seeing other people just improving their lives. That's really, really motivating, and it makes me not want to binge eat. So surround yourself with a really supportive environment, because it's massively important. Skincare routine. This is really interesting, but I'm not opposed to having any skincare routine. I think it's nice to have some self-care every now and then. It's massively important. Going to movie theaters, that's really, really great, and rekindling my hobbies. Keeping yourself busy. Massive improvement. I love this post. This is an amazing post. So let's go for one more to wrap this video up, because this is really, really good content. So how do you deal with leftover food after a binge, especially if it was expensive? As a disclaimer, so binge eating is not just a mental problem or a physical problem. We often forget about the financial aspect of struggling with binge eating, because if you're struggling with binge eating, ordering takeaway, ordering large amounts of food, oftentimes donuts nowadays. I just saw the price of Krispy Kreme donuts. They're really, really expensive nowadays. I think, so anyway, that's a side note. So many things have been really increasing in price because of the cost of living crisis nowadays, especially in the UK. So binge eating is a really serious problem financially. I think I saw a person comment on Reddit one time. I spent $5,000 on DoorDash. Anyway, you know the deal. It's really, really expensive. So I feel about food waste. I feel bad about food waste, but the food is triggering, and now that I'm out of the episode, that food seems gross to me. Scared I'll have another binge cycle if I do eat it. I'm falling back into old habits, and I don't know how to recover all over again. So what I highly recommend is, if you're constantly finding financial trouble with binge eating, then just to delete your apps. Delete any Deliveroo apps. Throw away any brochures, any flyers about food delivery. And make sure that you have food available in your pantry. I know it's not something as perfect as a balanced meal that contains protein, fats, carbs, and fiber, but if you have something ready that you can like whip into the microwave and wait for 3 seconds, and then you can just have something quickly, then that's much better compared to spending too much. And I'm not saying that having ready meals is your main solution to overcome binge eating, but remember that try to have meals that are ready and that are easy to make or easy to prepare. What I also highly recommend is to have meals that are bulk prepped. So you can bulk prep meals like for the whole week that are really enjoyable. But what I even more recommend is to have like 3 types of main meals that are meal prepped for the whole week. Because if I was to have spaghetti bolognese for Monday, Tuesday, Wednesday, Thursday, I'd get bored by Monday already. So try to have a variety of bulk prep meals, and then all you have to do is just put them in Tupperware and then chuck them into the microwave or in the oven so they're ready to have. I know it might seem quite minuscule at the moment. Remember, the goal of binge eating recovery is reducing your binge eating episodes slowly whilst you're introducing nourishing, healthy, delicious meals that contain protein, fats, carbs, and fiber. So try to keep an eye on your binge eating episodes reducing. So if you're ordering 4 takeaways a week, if you reduce your binge eating episodes to 3, that's a massive win. We often tend to focus too much on, oh, I lost my streak. I used to binge eat 5 times a week. Now I lost my streak. I binge ate once after 2 weeks. No, that's a massive win. Don't try to think of it as, how long can I go without binge eating? Try to track your binge eating episodes a week, then try to see how much you're reducing it by. The thing is, it's important to expect that you're going to binge and have a plan what you're going to do after a binge. So what I highly recommend what to do after a binge eating episode, now that you're going to be expecting binge eating episodes in recovery, is what are you going to do afterwards? What emotions are you going to feel afterwards? Try to remember what emotions you felt afterwards. Have a little journal, what I highly recommend. And in that journal, your post-binge journal. And third and finally last, write down and answer what kind of non-food and non-exercise related thing I can do, which is self-care, that can help me feel better after this binge and I can continue to do. So I hope you enjoyed this video, and I'm actually finding this quite helpful and quite enjoyable, actually, reacting to Reddit. And there's so much content, so many people that are looking out for help. 83,000 people in this binge eating disorder subreddit. I'm sure there's probably more people who struggle with that, who are like scattered around in different subreddits. So also check the link in the description for my emotional eating quiz scorecard, which helps you recognize what's the main trigger or the personality trait which is causing you to emotionally eat. That's completely free, and it'll provide tailored resources on how you can overcome emotional eating and many more resources. So expect more videos from this because this is really fun and informative, and I'll see you in the next video. See ya!